Thanks, Bassam. Friends, on Monday, what happened, and I'll use the words of Turkey, was a bloody massacre. It was an outrage from the state of Israel, which is increasingly acting like a rogue state. If you were on a boat and you were attacked by both air and sea, would it not be a reasonable thing to fight back the attackers? And yet the astounding thing for me on Monday afternoon was to read in the Jerusalem Post that this was a setup and Israel was ambushed by these protesters. Absolutely extraordinary. This was a group of peaceful protesters who were taking aid to Gaza. That aid consisted of things like wheelchairs. Now, why would wheelchairs be a threat to Israel? Yet that is one of the things that Israel is trying to stop getting in. There is a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. With only one crossing left open that Israel has allowed, this has resulted in somewhere between 70 and 80% of people becoming what they call food insecure. The word we used to use was hungry. So 70 to 80% of people in Gaza do not get enough food in. Every day, anywhere between 4 to 8 hours of electricity time is blacked out for both businesses and households. It means refrigeration is not an option for many people because they can't even preserve their food by keeping it cold in the summertime. It means that businesses can't operate. Up to 40% of people living in the Gaza Strip are now unemployed because Israel has done things like prevent their fishing fleet from going, and the lack of any equipment to do proper infrastructure and maintenance for water and sewage. Every day there's 80 megalitres a day goes out to sea and into aquifers of treated and untreated sewage, and the consequence is that only 5 to 10% of the aquifers that people are drawing their water from meets World Health Organisation standards. Now, I saw a picture of some of the aid that was on those ships, and as well as things like wheelchairs, it included things like stuffed toys. You wonder what sort of a threat that might be to Israel. Yet despite all of the information that's there about the 40% unemployment, the 70 to 80 to the US coattails, and seems to be waiting minute by minute, hour by hour to see what the US says to work out an appropriate response. But the fact is, as I say, Israel is acting like a rogue state, and these actions prove it. Unfortunately, and this is one of these figures that I can never ever get my head around, the US is giving Israel $7 million of aid per day. And as long as they continue to do that, Israel knows that they can get away with this sort of behaviour. It is time that Israel was brought to heel. It's time that the Australian government adopted an independent stance and stopped tying itself to the US coattails. It's time for for Israel to get out of the occupied territories and to lift that blockade, and finally to give the people of Palestine their land and their independence. Thank you.
My eyes to